What is up, everyone? Hope you guys are having a great night, great morning, great evening, whatever time you guys are watching this. But today we thought we would do an episode completely dedicated to Halo, considering that Halo is an active series, and also there's been more news regarding a Halo Infinite update, which I guess I could just quickly mention now, which is they're adding a little bit more, but still no co-op. But yeah,
Co-op makes sense though.
Yeah. Because I mean, technically, it's an open world. It's not like the other Halo games like we've been playing. But real quick in the chat, what's up, Anthony? Nice to see you. But yeah, that's why we have Halo Reach in kind of the topics for tonight, because we have been going through all the Halo games, and it's actually kind of brought up something that has been a consistent issue with the Halo show that I thought we'd talk about.
What's
so real
that?
quick, oh well, you'll find out, good sir. But as always, save Red Dead Online. Rockstar needs to actually put some new content towards it instead of doing monthly bonuses, and actually give us stuff like new content. I mean, how long has it been? Like 280 something days, or
Almost an
almost a year?
entire year.
Exactly. And I mean, yeah, every month we get new benefits, but last month was Bounty Hunter double money, but now bounty hunting yeah, you don't really get much money anymore. You would get a ton of Red Dead. Red Dead is dead. Exactly. That's why we start the stream. Even though we're not talking about it, we're just gonna keep letting people know, save Red Dead Online, because it's a
The
fun game.
potential is still there. It can
yeah.
come back. It easily come back.
Yeah, but so obviously a lot of stuff went down this week, or not a lot of stuff, just some stuff went down, especially with the third episode, but we'll get to that. But first, we have to talk about the game that we have been grinding the past couple days.
Halo Reach, one of the best Halo games.
Yeah, so
By the way, I say that about every game before Halo 4. I consider one of the best Halo games.
hey Maho. But so obviously it's the first game, technically in chronological order. It's the game that comes first, and then it's the first Halo game. But
Combat Evolved.
Playing Reach again after so long, I don't remember any of the Halo games, so this is why it's actually it's doing good, because it helps me understand a little bit more for the Halo series that's on Paramount Plus right now.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you after how we haven't completed Reach yet, but we're nearing the end. But based on what you've seen in the game so far, how do you feel the adaptation is going for like a character like Halsey? Do you think that they're doing a good job with her character in the show, doing her justice?
I feel okay. So Halsey, yeah, I mean, I think they're matching kind of like the tone and like kind of like the seriousness. Like she'll do whatever it takes to kind of get her work done.
Yes, to get her way.
Yeah, it's like, especially with this third episode, it really shows that she is just like, I am dead set on it. And we'll talk about kind of more of those decisions and like what kind of showed. But Halo Reach, the question I was saying that a lot of people have issue with the Halo series is Master Chief constantly being unmasked. In this game, I think we have like a couple missions left. They removed like all the Spartans, the Spartan 3s, and even the Spartan 2, which is the same as Master Chief. They all removed their helmet, and he did. And George, which is the guy with the kind of yellowish armor,
R.I.P.
right? Yeah, rip. Spoilers. I mean, it's an old game, but still,
the game's like 10 years old.
Yeah, but like it still provides the same thing. It's like, yeah, Master Chief in the game doesn't remove his helmet a bunch, but it's not uncommon.
He's also never in a position in the games to where he would, except for the end of the first Halo. At the very end, he like goes to take his helmet off, but the camera goes off so that you can't see. So it's like, we know he takes his helmet off, but we never see his face. And in the Halo show, he's always in situations where he doesn't need to have the helmet on. So why would he?
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
when
this
you're in the
game,
military, if you have an opportunity to not wear your armor, you don't want to wear your armor. Trust me.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it you know, it makes sense, but like for this, it's like George, when they approach kind of like these people that just went through a traumatic experience with the Covenant, he takes off his helmet and tries to like talk to her because she can see a face and not just this Spartan,
A
you know?
machine,
Exactly. Uh, and
and
it
that's why
just
he Chief does it.
and that like in that moment, I understood why Chief did that in the show, and I'm like, yeah, I know Master Chief doesn't do it, in the games, but it makes sense. But that being
First,
said, I still have issues with how less or how much we haven't seen him in his full
it's because
costume and the helmet.
it's because of the lack of action. Where we are in the story right now is very plot heavy and very like setup. We're building up to something right now. Um, so I think that's why we're seeing his helmet off like so much. I think in the future, as the show progresses, we probably will see him with his helmet on more and more.
Yeah, and so this is just some fan art from one of the first mission when you meet the townspeople. But I really do love Reach.
Oh,
It's such a unique and fun game. It's amazing story as well.
and fun fact on Halo Reach, and this scene that is recreated in front of us, the farmers come out and they're speaking Hungarian. What language are they speaking in the show? Whenever
Hungarian.
it's a native language, it's always Hungarian. So, just a little fun fact there.
Yeah, and it's actually really unique to kind of see this because I haven't played Halo in a while. That's why we're replaying it, and it's kind of unique seeing kind of the reaction, kind of reception with normal people with the Spartans.
hmm
Um,
I think that in the show, I don't think there's Spartan 2s and Spartan 3s. I think there's just Spartans. And I think it's just like Spartan 2s, but Spartan 2s, quote unquote, are the only Spartans in this show, I think. That's what it looks like.
yeah, but kind of just continuing with the Halo Reach talk. This campaign is very like there's so many different missions. Like you fly Falcons, you go in space and take out banshees and shit like that. And this mission right here was nuts. Right here, we
every
just did it
time,
last night.
every time you win, every time you beat a mission, you're like, oh yeah, we won. We succeeded our mission. It gets thrown right back at you, and the Covenant's like, no, you didn't. That was just a test, basically. They're every mission at the end of it, you can't really call them wins.
You can't, especially
And that's
this
what's
mission
great about the
version.
game. Yeah, this mission at the end, after everything you do to save the city and civilians, the end of the mission, the city gets glassed, and
You can't do
it ends
anything
with
about it
you
because you can't get
panning out.
reinforcements,
Hmm
and they just keep coming in waves and waves. It's like demoralizing because it's like you want to take out as many banshees as possible, but it just no matter what, they're still gonna outnumber you, and you just gotta cut the losses and get everyone out while you still can. Otherwise, you're just gonna continue to die.
Yep, there's parts where like the Covenant is straight taking down civilian transports. It's everyone is fair game to them, and you see that a lot. And a lot of the dialogue in this game really makes you feel that way because you're on a planet full of humans. Where in the original trilogy, um, minus ODST, you're not really in areas of civilians. It's always military zones. So you never really had to think about the civilians, and then this game just kind of brought that out.
Yeah, which another thing that you brought up last night that I also made a note of and wanted to bring up again tonight is how Halo Reach kind of reorganized and kind of reshaped the lore, especially with the brutes. Because
hmm
obviously, so do you want to kind of explain that?
Um, Plain and simple, when the game first came out, it had some controversies because there were brutes in the game, and in the original Halo lore, there were apparently no brutes on Reach. I think that all the brutes in the Covenant were sent to Harvest, the planet Harvest, and I think that's where they were in the original canon. So that was just a little fun fact.
Yeah, and it's such a unique story because obviously most of the Halo games are just revolved around one character and people like maybe a couple of people around them, but this one is about a whole team. Like you bond with all these different characters, because they're part of your squad. It's like your family, and you just get thrown right into this family at the beginning of the game, and then you just kind of over the missions you kind of learn more and more about them and bond with them. So when this moment happened, I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, Jimbo forgot.
I forgot. It's been such a long time. And when this happened, like she was in the middle of a sentence and then boom.
Yep.
I was shook. I
In the
I
middle of a
couldn't believe it.
cutscene, she's just talking, explaining what they're going to have to do, and mid sentence, just the back of the head goes down.
Yeah, and just like the ragdoll effect, like she gets shot and it's just like slump. It just immediately offline,
Done.
and it just is like that's like the way they did this scene is so like
It's chilling.
it's
Like
chilling but
it's very
amazing,
chilling.
and like the way like they just did it because it's like traumatic because it's like they just it's all of a sudden it's like she's starting to talk, she's continuing like asking like, oh, when are we gonna boom, and then just instantly stops talking and just falls, and it's just quiet as hell. It's just whoa, it's just like what the fuck just happened. Oh.
And it's crazy because in the scene right before this, right, the Covenant glasses the city, and you're running to leave, and she's asking the commander if they lost yet because the dialogue goes, Kat asks Carter, um, is about to ask Carter a question. Carter says, "You're wondering if we're losing," and Kat says, "No, I know we're losing. I want to know if we lost." And then the next scene, she gets taken out.
Yeah, and it's honestly probably one of the most wild moments of that game, except for when you're leaving in the transports. And I think this game does something really unique, and it's like you feel bad because you wish you could do more, but you're limited in this like what you're able to do in the game. Because when we're on the Falcons and we're going away, and you're just on the gunner, and you just see all these wraiths and stuff like gunning all these people down, and you're trying to stop them all, but you just want to stay down there and not leave and make sure that like you keep everyone safe, but you can't because you just got to get the hell out of there, and it's like almost it's very defeating in a way, and that's why I think the story is so good because it's like promotes like, oh, maybe I don't want to like leave, I want to stay here and help all these people even though they're fucking digital people. It's like, damn.
Yeah, there's the bigger mission where you're flying with the Pelicans. You see the squads
Yeah,
of Covenant running at civilians who are running away, screaming and scared, and you're trying to take them out, and you just want to be like, no, just stop the Falcon here, let me get them all. But if you stop and something happens to you, what would have happened with the rest of the mission with the communication stuff? We wouldn't have been able to do that. It's like the game's accepted, in the story they've accepted, they're not going to be able to save everybody, and they're going to have to leave people behind, even if you don't want to.
Yeah. So I think we kind of talked about Reach good enough because we still haven't beat it yet. So we're gonna move on to the Halo show. And so far in the comments, people are not no.
I mean, that's fair.
Yeah. So I know we talked about episode 1 and before, but overall, after watching episode 3, are you more invested into the show, or are you less
Uh,
invested?
I am. I'm like 100% invested after the last episode. It was like the chick. What's her name? Quan.
Quan Ha?
Yeah, her and the other Spartan guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just cut them from the show because that's added fat onto the meat, and we don't want that.
I mean,
But
I'm not
what?
gonna
But
lie, I kind of
whatever. I'll
agree, but
accept it. Yeah, I'll just accept it.
you
Whatever.
just
Like,
want two people of color erased from the show. That's very, kind of sus of you, Hans. So,
yes.
but like,
That's exactly.
no,
No,
oh my god, bro, that
I'm joking. I'm
episode we
joking.
get canceled. We get
I'm
canceled.
joking. I'm
Oh
joking.
Lord. I know. Because I mean, but like, in all seriousness, I think it's just like during that third episode. Okay, we're let's just we gotta stay focused because I know we want to get to that third episode. Or at least I want to talk about.
All right, second episode. Easy to cover. Not too much happened in the episode because not much was supposed to happen. It was supposed to be a slower episode. This episode was building up to what episode 3 gave us, and it was a lot more of Chief trying to figure out what he has to do, and what to do with the chick because he's trying to get rid of her. Obviously, he doesn't want her around him, which I'm happy about. He doesn't want
she's
her around him.
basically like dead weight and just more of
Mhm.
a stressor on him.
Yeah, so I'm glad that he got rid of her. But the episode was, I think it was just to show that all these people in the military are saying, "Can we trust him? Can we trust him?" And he's still like, all that's on his mind is, how am I going to stop the Covenant and end the war? That's still what we see in Chief. That's exactly like the games. End the war. And that's what we see in the second episode a lot.
Yeah, and I definitely like. And the second episode was all right, and I definitely accept it because it kind of drives and we learn more about his character and all that. The way they're adapting the story,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm glad. Like the best part of that was when he dumped her off, because I'm like, all right, now shit's gonna get crazier. Now we're gonna get into the full Halo. What were you gonna do with the Master Chief going nuts?
I like how she's like, "You're just gonna leave me here," and he goes, "Yep, that was the best I could do." And he just turns around and he never looks back, which means
right.
That's it. He didn't look back.
But as we because that was like the biggest thing in that episode. But of course, there's this interaction with the other Spartan that left and has created his own kind of life. And obviously, in the third episode, we see Quan Ha trying to finesse her way back to Madrigal and start a revolution and revolt. And it's like, dude.
Yeah. Who cares about her? I'm more concerned about Chief, like everyone else is.
And what's funny about this third episode, but going back to the very start of the third episode, because I think we covered the gist of episode 2, and then if you want to hear our talk about episode 1, we talk about it. I don't know, last episode.
The beginning of episode 3, kind of, because I had a theory after the first one about the Earth Girl who's with the Covenant, and this episode was basically showing like, okay, I think I'm on the right track. So what happens is she's with her boyfriend on a planet. They're slaves, child slave miners, and the human guard kills her boyfriend. They're kids at the time, by the way. They're like, what, 12, 13 probably? They're young. And then the Covenant comes to Earth, or not Earth, to whatever planet they're on, and they kill everybody except her. And it kind of shows that, I think my theory about how the Covenant know they need someone with a particular ability, I guess, would you call it? It's kind of like a way of like being able to like talk with the Forerunner objects, which in this show they're making it so only select humans can. Not every human can do that in the show, but it shows why the Covenant took her in and brainwashed her, and why she's with them. She legitimately believes what they believe.
Yeah. Yeah. So sorry, I was literally reading something because I got sent something, so I was just reading that. But to get to the kind of the juicy bit of the third episode, honestly, we get something.
Something major happens, something huge happens,
Yeah.
and we get to see the process. Let's talk about the process of it first. Very interesting. So Halsey clones herself. She's been making this clone of herself in secret because it's illegal to do human cloning. And once the clone is ready, they basically take her mind from herself and create an artificial intelligence with it, and then they throw the body in acid, and that's how Cortana was created. Very similar, where Cortana is an AI of Halsey in the games in the canon too. So I'm glad they stuck with that.
Yeah, I just think it was like the scene of when she gets her eye just like stabbed with the needle. It was just like, I physically repulsed. But it
Yeah,
was
when I watched with Saggy, she was very squeamish. It was funny.
Oh man, that's just,
But
it's such a unique process, and just to see the emotion in Halsey's face as she just basically has to do it, and the conversation with the clone is like, holy shit.
right, it was wild. And one of the last something the clone says is, that she was thinking that if she ever cloned herself, would she be able to do it? Would she be okay with basically watching her own body die? And you can tell that Halsey was kind of like, you can tell she was thinking about it while it was happening, but you can also tell that she was very proud of herself for what she was able to accomplish.
Yeah, oh man, it was such a unique kind of process.
And so let's talk when Cortana and Chief meet for the very first time. And you heard Cortana's voice as the voice actress from the games. And it hit me like a wall. I'm not even kidding. I was like, no way. Like, I was like, this is Cortana. Cortana is in the fucking show. Because it's the same voice actress. And she kept Cortana perfectly. The one thing that isn't perfect Cortana is just the way she looks. But that's like whatever. Everything else, the way how she talks, how she says her mannerisms, how she says certain words, how she explains things is perfect. Absolutely perfect. And when you think about it, knowing that it's the voice actress from the games, that shouldn't be surprising.
Yeah,
But
I
it was,
actually I googled that because when I was watching, I'm like, no way, like this sounds exact. As soon as she said Master Chief, I knew it was like, okay, this is definitely the voice actress. But is she actually playing Cortana, like live action? And she is. Her the
my
actress
big
name is actually Jen Taylor, I believe.
my biggest complaint is that Cortana appears like full size human. Um, when like obviously in the game she would always appear like smaller, like she would be able to like hold his hand out and like this what you have up right now. Yeah. So it's just kind of like, you see a full-sized AI standing there. It's kind of like a little awkward almost, but maybe that's also because they're in the base, and she's able to do that, project herself that big. Who knows? It's the first episode with her. That's the only thing. It was great, and I like seeing their dynamic where neither of them trust each other. Neither of them really like each other.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be interesting because it's their relationship's going to develop throughout the show, and it's going to be very interesting seeing how they get to the point where they were in the Halo games, that kind of relationship, because they were very close. They trusted each other. It was it's going to be cool seeing that that develop throughout the show. And it's going to be cool the first time we see Chief fight with her. I think that's when I think that might be when it clicks in his head like, oh shit, she's making me more badass.
Essentially. But one of the things I really want to talk about is this image. The one on the left is from the trailer, and then the one on the right is from episode 3. And so they clearly made some crucial.
Yeah, they made her lighter, and they put more blue.
To make her actually look like kind of like a projection of an AI,
yes,
not like an actual human, like it looks on the left.
And
which
her yeah, in the right side in the show, like her hair like kind of has like sparkles of blue in it.
Yeah, and I just like look at this. They did such a good job. I mean, you could definitely tell it's computer generated, but you could tell that it just looks really good, and I'm completely sold on it. And just to see her interact with everyone, just man, it just brings me back to the Halo 3, because that's the one I can remember the most, because it's the one I played the most. It's like, man, we're bringing back, and I think it's they could never have, like, she's been in every single thing, every project that has Cortana, she's in it, and she plays Cortana, which is amazing. And I think
that's what we found out yesterday.
That's such a strong thing. She's in Four Dawn to Dawn. She's in all these other live action things that they've done with Halo, and she's played Cortana every single time, and that is awesome. And it's amazing that Paramount, even though they're adapting the games and the story, they are still like, okay, if we want to do Cortana,
we need Cortana.
We need the person. Because unlike Chief, you can change Chief and change the voice, and it can work decently well, in my opinion, with how they've done the show, because it's an adaptation. But with Cortana, it's like, the voice.
I think they knew
everything. The voice.
They knew that they knew they were going to have to sell people on Cortana over Chief. In my opinion, I think that Cortana's character being well written and well received is a lot more important than Chief. Because she's just
as important.
She's like they're like additions of each other.
She's probably the second most, if not the most notable character in the Halo games.
Besides Johnson.
Yes, true.
Who's argued that there's very good reason to believe that he was a Spartan 1. I think he was part of the original Spartan program, but that's not good. I wonder if they're gonna have him in the show. I didn't even think of that. Well, they mentioned Commander Shepard as an Easter egg to Mass Effect 3.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yep. But Sergeant Major Johnson, another character that if they make him in the show, they have to do a damn good job. I think it's more important for them to do a good job with characters like Cortana and Halsey and Johnson, the more supporting characters over Chief, because Chief is such a blank slate from what people know about him that he needs those supporting roles around him need to be stellar. And I think they're doing a great job at helping carry it.
Yeah. It just
Because you think Chief is supposed to be emotionless. Like, it's hard to have a main character like that. So that support, the characters around him need to be the ones that have to carry an emotionless character through the story. I don't know if that makes sense.
yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I guess predictions. I guess we can move towards predictions of what do you think this next episode, because I don't know how many episodes they're doing in the seasons. I don't know how many more we have left, but I really hope that we have in like a lot more. I hope we have at least like 4 to 5 more, because I mean,
I do too.
because
I like that they've all been an hour or 50 minutes.
they've been
That's
consistent.
great.
It's
That's
funny
great.
how Paramount Plus is, sticking with a schedule and in terms of structure, in terms of
Yeah.
length and what they're doing. But I still feel like this season needs to like kind of start jumping off a little bit more and getting more. I think with Cortana here now, I think we're gonna start going. I think we're gonna start getting to the fucking meat and guts of the plot that's established in this first season, because these first 3 episodes have been basically setting up and working our way towards that, and they have done a really good job. But I feel like now is the time that we need to start getting going here.
We learned in this episode that the Covenant are recovering these artifacts for a weapon. They aren't sure what the weapon is yet. They know it's Halo. I believe they know it's Halo, but they don't know what it is yet.
I think
Exactly.
only the Covenant. I think only the Covenant knows. It doesn't seem like they know yet, at least from what they've been talking about with the USNC. They don't seem to like fully understand it or know what it leads to.
Yeah, they
Chief
just
doesn't
know it's a
even
weapon.
know, but the Covenant does, and that's why, because they haven't mentioned Halo, but they mentioned the ring, which is basically Halo. Which this has been brought to my attention many times. But so I think this is like a good time to like actually speak on it and explain shit. But what exactly is Halo?
It is a
I know it's kind of hard to explain.
What are they called? The Forerunners?
Yes, because I think so. It sounds
The
like
Forerunners created these massive rings that wipe out all organic life within a very, very large radius. And there's multiple rings in the canon. There's multiple rings. So when one gets activated, other ones can also be activated to maximize that. The reason those are created to do that were in case of a flood breakout. The flood are parasites that take over their host and are very hard to kill, and they basically upgrade. The stronger they get, the bigger they get. Eventually they will get big enough to be a grave mind, which if a grave mind is around, it's over basically. Like if there's a grave mind on a planet, that planet's probably doomed. So they were made so that there's a flood outbreak, you activate the rings, all organic life is destroyed, because the only way to kill the flood fully is to destroy their food, and their food is organic life. The Covenant want to activate Halo and use it because they believe it's part of their religion to do that, and they're unaware that by activating Halo, they will also destroy themselves.
Yeah, which is something that be very interesting to see once if you know. But I think if they do second or I think by
the
like season
flood,
3.
the flood coming into this show would turn it into a horror show overnight.
Oh hell yeah!
Um, but I was saying they know about a weapon. The Covenant know about it too, obviously. So this is we're building up right now to the point where they're going to be like in the show. They'll be like, you have to destroy it, or they might start up being like, we need to take control of it before the Covenant do, and then Chief might find out about the flood and be like, we can't activate this because we will die too, and then they're going to have to destroy it. So I think that's what everything's building up to, is going to Halo,
It's
and then
also
season ends.
building up to Asagi Melons. That's what it's building up to.
Oh, Saggy, what's up?
I think she might. I don't know if she was ready or
Um,
not.
yeah, I don't know either.
We'll just I'm just using her for clout. We'll just leave her up here. It's actually my second account. I just added it. Don't worry about it. Maybe we'll get more clicks.
Yeah, but I'm very happy with the Halo show, and I am really looking forward to what they're gonna do next. What the
Yeah,
next episode will be,
I just
especially knowing like
we have
every episode is
Cortana.
gonna be 50 minutes long now. A lot can
Yeah,
happen in these episodes.
I
I
mean,
want less Quan.
this last episode proved it. Which is that's another thing. Like as we're getting introduced to Cortana, like they keep cutting between Quan Ha and then Master Chief and Cortana. And I was sitting there last night, and you were listening. I'm just sitting here like, I don't care about this chick going back to Magical to get killed again. I don't care.
Right.
Like
I'm
I
just like,
gave
just
up.
kill her off already.
As soon as he dumped her off, I'm
I
like,
was
all
done with
right,
her.
I was done because I don't care. I don't this is like a kind of like a weird side character. I want to like focus on the stuff that actually matters. It kind of was annoying that they kept breaking up this crucial scene that we all been waiting for. Just inserting
Yeah.
this lady in there, like, bruh.
I prefer they just got killed at this point. Um, I don't care about either one of those characters enough to want them to live. But
Yeah, I
you know,
mean, I'm just gonna put Seiki back in the fast seat until she's ready. Um, because she's just being a smellings right now. But yeah, it was cool seeing the Spartan and having the Spartan get introduced and kind of show like, oh, this is he's moved on and he's created a life, he has a family. And it's a perfect place to just get rid of this character because it's moving
it's
on. We're
like
moving on with the story. We're not going back to the first episode. We're
it's like
continuing
good
it on.
good good story, Spartan who escaped. Like, good for you. We're happy for you. Good luck. We don't now. Goodbye.
Right? It's just like it was fun for a couple episodes, and you're pivotal for what you had to do with Master Chief. But now you're gone, and now you're doing dumb shit like I'm gonna go steal a ship and I'm going to save Madrigal. I'm like, bro, what are you doing? You almost died to the Covenant. When you attacked, you did nothing. How the hell are you supposed to like take over like the UNSC because they took over and basically made a partnership with your planet. So how the hell do you think you're gonna get past them and take over and beat them? Like no, then that's just no. But it's just like I don't know. It's just weird, and I don't know. But I definitely hope next episode we get a little less Quan Ha and just kind of get back
Yeah,
into
just
the
slowly
main
push her
stuff.
out.
Yeah, because I mean, like, this is like the only stuff that just this interaction with obviously Magical was pivotal in introducing Master Chief, and then showing that the conversation changed him. Like those two conversations, that was probably like the most important thing for about Quan Ha. And then after that, it's just like, okay, bye. I don't care about you talking to a literal fetus about planets and stars. I don't care anymore. Where's Matt? What's Can we go back to Cortana and Master Chief? Because oh man, it's just
Yeah,
dang.
I like the show. I can't wait for the next episode. I'm interested. I'm invested. I think it's going to be another. I don't know if we're going to have any action in the next episode or
I
not.
would be completely fine with no action as long as it's just Cortana and Master Chief like
Yeah,
intermingling and just kind of getting used to each other, I guess, and connecting more. That would be perfectly fine with me. Action is not required in that aspect.
right.
But Quan Ha. I bet we'll still continue to see her
I'll fast
arguing
forward
with
those
him.
parts.
I was debating it last night. I'm just like, dude, I just don't care. What
Like,
are you going to do? What are
is
you going to do?
this affecting Master Chief's story at all? No, then I don't care.
It's just like we all watching Halo for two things: Master Chief and Cortana. We're not watching the Quan Ha show here, and that's
Well, to
not
be
the head.
fair, she really did have like a very very small role, which is fine.
I mean,
That's
it
why
was
I'm
basically
like,
just like an
whatever.
introduction. Yeah, exactly. But I'm like, the actress who plays Quan Ha absolutely did the job perfectly. No shame on that. It's just the character and overall kind of like in Halo and what we're seeing right now. It just is not interesting to me, especially with like the story arc that she's trying to go on. It feels something different. And they kind of like actually, did something else besides trying to go back and save Magical, like one man army style. I'll be like, I'm interested. But it's just like, dude, they could do so much more with that character if they're actually going to continue investing time into that character. It's just like, I don't know. But the actress is actually is pretty solid. She's doing a great job as her character, and that's no fault for why we're just interested in kind of like her story arc. It's not about her at all. It's just about like the way they're developing. But I don't know. It's
Overall, I
just
like the show. I do. So that's what matters. I like it. I'm enjoying it.
yeah. I mean,
I'm excited to see more Silver Team action.
yeah, and that's something that we haven't gotten a ton of, and I know like this is like the only time we got to see them in action in this episode. But other than that, it's just been kind of here and there. I don't know really how to describe it, but it's just this scene alone actually like even though we've gotten one scene of them all working together. It was a great scene. I definitely enjoyed this action sequence, but I can't wait for more. See them all working together and Master Chief commanding his unit with Cortana and see how Cortana's influence changes the way Master Chief leads.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
Yeah. But you know, I just wonder if we're ever going to get to this point. Like I wonder like when like season 2 or season 3 will we get to this kind of relationship with them, or will they actually move towards this kind of model where they take the actress and the voice actor and kind of like I don't know, like shrink and kind of do like the chip model where he's able to remove her and like a hologram like in the
I
games.
think that might. I think that might. It might come eventually. I think. I think we just need a. I think when they start, the relationship starts, like getting more positive. It's gonna go quick, and it's gonna feel quick because the episodes are 50 minutes long, which is a good thing. You don't that they're so long because there's a lot you can do and say in the episode.
Yeah, because I just think that, but I don't know. I'm trying to formulate exactly what I'm thinking, like in a moment, but my brain's slow as hell, especially after a long day like today. But I don't know. I don't know. I think we'll get to like the way like their bond is in like Halo 4 or Halo 3 by at least by the maybe kind of like getting to that point by the end of the season and kind of continue on into season 2. But I don't know. When do you think
I
that
think
they'll start moving forward?
I think that they're gonna like get to by like fully trusting each other um, on Halo. I think there's still going to be a little bit going like back and forth a little bit, not really liking each other too much. But I think once they're on Halo and they're actually in like enemy territory, a place no one's seen or knows, I think that's when it's gonna have another like skyrocket of of them liking each other and having like that relationship they do where they do fully trust each other.
Yeah, and I think I think after they do their first mission, together, I think that's when it's gonna try. I think that's when they're gonna start, or at least Master Chief will be like, okay, maybe she's kind of helpful, and they'll start that process. But other than that, I don't know, because obviously right now we just see them interacting kind of like in the military quarters, and it's like he's just kind of annoyed with her. And I think that'll continue on until he sees that she's vital, at least to him, and it like completes him in some aspect. But I guess we can end on what do you think we'll see exactly in the next episode, and I think we'll wrap up from there. But
I think that
thank you, Sadie, for popping in.
oh
But
oh yeah, I think they're gonna go to the planet. They're worried about his memories. He's gonna see the memories. Cortana's gonna see the memories. I think the memories aren't what everyone's thinking. It seems like from what we have, his parents were kind of assholes. Um, that's what it seemed like to me, and it's gonna make him like probably give Cortana is gonna be the first and only person to know anything deep about him at all, besides maybe Halsey, who pretends she doesn't. So I think the episode's gonna be kind of about that. Them like bonding.
yeah, I think definitely that's kind of what I was thinking was gonna kind of go towards. But I think hopefully we'll I don't know, because obviously they're gonna go back to Master Chief's home from the visions I've seen with the artifact. I just wonder how exactly, because what I'm curious to see is how Master Chief reacts and see what Halsey does. Because I think depending on what Halsey does with this whole situation and John's reaction, because he took out his emotional inhibitor, I wonder if she will kind of like start deterring him from kind of just, I wonder. I don't think she's that dumb to do that, because if she starts to kind of like going against him, I guess he'll start to lose faith and will end up. I don't know. It's kind of unique. I
Well,
just wonder how they're gonna go
here's the
with
thing
it.
too. Halsey trusts Chief. She says it over and over and over constantly. You can tell John's her favorite Spartan, and John is the Spartan she trusts the most. She does care about him to some extent.
Yeah, yeah, and you can definitely see that as well. But I just wondered like, what's the extent of that? And I wonder if we'll get to that extent where her love for Master Chief kind of outweighs what her goal is and what she's
She'll
trying to
choose her
do.
goal because it's
Oh, for
Halsey.
sure. Yeah, exactly. Because just this, I mean, that whole
Despite what
conversation with
people
like
might
Cole.
think
Prove that.
People's perspective of Halsey is a little off. Some people's is because everyone's like, "Oh, Cortana's an AI of Halsey," but Cortana is an AI with full human functionings, basically, and she basically becomes her own person in a way, um, separate from Halsey still. Because
Yeah.
Halsey is, she can be mean, manipulative. She wants to be in charge. She doesn't like taking orders from anyone, and that's who she is. She's not a bad person per se, but she's not a good person either.
Yeah. But I guess on that note, we are going to end the stream. I want to thank everyone for stopping by. I want to thank Sagi for stopping by and just hanging out with us in the backstage. I cleaned the backstage. It's actually more comfortable. I added a couch, so it's fine. But yeah, something came up. She's busy. But I think we had an interesting talk. We talked more about Halo lore, Halo Reach, and how it connects and changed kind of like, at least my opinion, about certain aspects of the Halo show. And we talked about, episode 3, because it's probably the most pivotal episode in terms of,
Episode 3 was a make or break for the show for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are still going to hate on it. But there's still I love it. I love Cortana. Like, she made me want to watch the next episode.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but on that that final note, we are done, and we'll see you guys.
Remember, save Red Dead Online.
Oh, hold up. Yeah, reminder. Save Red Dead Online, and
it has potential.
Rockstar Games.
Let's go. All right.
Yep.